Okay, David, just now you told us that you don't see issues in Singapore, although the countries in this region may have. But now you heard what Melissa is saying. She has the right to our ministers, in this industry. So what would be the comments on? I will encourage you to even comment on her comments, right, so that you have real dialogue. Yeah.
Melissa is the boss here, so I'm not going to comment on that. Every country has its issues, okay? And, I live half of my time in the UK, and in the UK we have the issue of, well, recycling is at 43%. It's flat. It hasn't moved in the last 3 or 4 years. Isn't this a big problem? And my heart goes out to our colleagues who are in Indonesia, or Malaysia, or in the whole of Africa, or in Latin America, where recycling is maybe 1%. In Brazil, recycling is 1%. And that's tin cans, because they have a value on the market. All the rest goes to landfill. My heart goes out to those people, because they have real issues about keeping the streets clean, about scavengers working in the landfills, about children working in informal or illegal sector. These are the issues. And really, what I'm trying to say is we have to have a global perspective. Before we beat ourselves up too much about what we do individually in our own countries, we have to have a wider perspective.
What would that wider perspective be? Because recycling, that is actually quite a tough issue, right? You mentioned to me that maybe recycling is not the solutions after all, right?
I have to be very careful what I say, because somebody is going to record this, put it on Facebook, and I'm going to be trashed. Okay? Recycling, in waste management, and you're all experts, we have what are called final sinks. Does everybody understand what final sinks means? It means the last place where your pollution ends up. Okay? So, the final sink for waste, the best final sink for waste is recycling. Because it can go back into industry, it can be reused, it can turn around. Aluminium can be recycled forever. Paper can be recycled 3 or 4 times. Glass can be recycled forever. The best final sink for our environment is recycling. No doubt about it. But then there are other considerations. Space. Well, you need big spaces to put in recycling and selection plants. Do you have the space in Singapore? There's another consideration, energy. There's a lot of energy in waste. Is your priority being more energy efficient and energy self-sufficient, or is your priority returning those materials back into your industry, industrial circle? You have to decide that. That's a perspective which you have to have as a nation. So, whilst recycling may be environmentally the best thing to do, it possibly is not always in every situation the right thing to do, and it possibly in every situation is not economically the right thing to do. At the moment we're in a paradox, and the presentation I will be giving tomorrow at the summit here of the World Engineers is all about the paradox of recycling. We have increasing population, increasing urbanization, increasing consumption, and raw material prices are falling. In America, just last month, the American Association of Waste Managers said, guys, this is the end of recycling as we know it, because they can't sell the plastics or the paper anymore. No one wants it. So the answer to your question is, yes, we should recycle. Yes, it's environmentally the best thing to do, but it is not always the right thing to do everywhere at all the time.
Well, I do agree with what you have just said, but locally, what we are facing now is we have limited manpower. So if we have limited manpower, we can't recycle, because there's no one who's going to pick up the recyclables in the designated locations. Whereas for land, which you have pointed out just now, we do have some experts here. The government now is actually working with seeking public consultation together with WOMRAS, is to build a multi-story recycling facility that would be able to house our recycle companies there with full automation and things like that. But coming back to manpower issue, is really a great problem for us. Well, in my last trip to UK, which I also went to understand how the UK companies manage to get their workers. So I visited, I think about 4 companies, and every workers that I've seen, the employees, they wear this reflective vest with a logo. So on the 4th company, I approached the manager. I said, how come you use the same reflective vest? It must be in trend. Can I buy? He said, oh no, it belongs to the employment agency, which means in the UK, there's this particular company where he will recruit all the general workers per se, our local term is general workers. He will train them equivalent to WSQ standard. He trains them, and then he will dispatch them out to the recycling or waste companies in UK. So, which is almost similar to our security companies. That means when 1 or 2 goes absent, they will inform the employment agency, they will deploy the substitute workers to that particular company. That's how they work in UK. Whereas for Singapore, it's very tough. This model somehow it doesn't work because if our recruitment agency were to recruit, who are they going to recruit? Are they going to recruit the locals, the Malaysians, the foreigners? Which is foreigners, we can't get them anymore. You know, it's a problem. And I've been sharing with my friends. Or yesterday, I had a meeting with IE Singapore. I was sharing with them. I said, last time, during our father's time, our grandfather's time, they worked as coolie. Everybody knows coolie, right? Yesterday I watched movie.
Sure.
Yesterday I was watching the movie, TV series, the what, 我的家园, 我们的家园 or something. So it reflected the 1960s, 70s of Singapore, you know. So they are trying to change the environmental environment for Singapore. So I was sharing with them. I said, last time our father, our grandfather, great grandfather, they work as coolie, and then they could be coolie, drivers, cleaners, and everything else. So when it comes to, after they born us, they will tell us, hey, must study hard, you know. Next time don't be like me. Very tough, very hardship. Correct? So all of us here, we become very educated. At least a diploma, a degree, a master's, a PhD. Who wants to be a worker? Where can we find our workers? We can't find anymore. The old has retired, the retired had died. Then who is going to work for us? So we seriously have a manpower issue. The government says, manpower issue, no problem. Raise up your productivity, innovation, you have equipment. Yes, I do agree, but all this takes time because our equipment providers or suppliers, even if they go to US and source equipment, they go to UK, Europe to source equipment, they need time to bring it back to Singapore, modify to local usage. All this takes time. And who is going to help us? So seriously, we have a problem.
Do you think government is supposed to help?
Sorry?
Do you think government is supposed to help?
You see, all this while, okay, to be honest, government has been very nice to us. Yeah, very, very nice. They take something away from you, they will give you something back in return. For example, if they raise up the GST percentage, they give you GST voucher, right? They take something again, they give you back something. Same thing, they don't give you workers, they increase the levy, what do they give you? They give you PIC, they give you grants, there's plenty of grants there. So I'm very sure the government will help us. But the interim, during this period, before all the waste companies are automated in some ways. So this interim, we seriously need help. And we are crying for help to the government.